Treetop Flight, where I'm documenting the build of my RANS S-21 outbound plane. First, a little disclaimer, none of my videos are instructional videos. I'm a first-time builder. I feel that some of my content might be of interest to other people, but I'm certainly in no place to give instruction to others on how to build a plane. I'm just documenting how I built my plane. If you should get hurt or die doing something that I did, leave some notes in the comments below. I'll be interested. In this chapter or this episode, I finish up the top skin with the conundrum of to rivet or not to rivet that prevails throughout the episode. There are many places in the manual where there seems to be encouragement to get the top skin finished up. But there keep coming up items that you need access to your tail cone to get in there, and so hesitation on riveting and finishing up appeared to be the right thing to do. There's more bouncing around in the manual to different sections, the seat section, the tailwheel section, cable section, wiring. You're bouncing around in a lot of different places to figure out what you need to get done, and a lot of it you have to kind of watch other videos and figure it out to get it done. I did see some other videos, and I'm not the only one that struggled with this. In addition to the top skin, I've got the forward top skin, forward side skins, windows complete, the side windows. Got the magnetometer complete, wired and locked down. Got my harness from my panel company. I got the ELT installed, the ELT antenna installed. Also, what else? The seat rails. The seat rails, I got those installed. And at this point in the build, or when I got started, I had 532 build hours, and those are honest build hours. I've said in prior videos, does not include research and computer time. I'll give an update at the end of this video on where I am at the end of this episode. And with that, let's get started. I think I start this video with a question of what to do next, which is kind of a prevailing theme throughout this episode. So with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you joining me, and let's get started. I've been spending a little time trying to figure out my wire runs and my antenna runs, and I'm going to try and document this as well as I can because I'm struggling with it, so I'm assuming some other builders are. This is where I think I am so far. As far as the wiring, some have run their wiring through the bulkheads a few inches off the floor, and some have run them on the bottom, but others have put a loom in there. I'm running a loom down each side. I've run the one down that side, and I'm going to try and keep my antenna wires on one side and my power wires on the other to kind of separate the power from the antennas for pulse issues. The magnetometer is in the back on station 7, behind station 7. That wire will run down. My ELT, it looks like, is going to be under the baggage, the rear baggage area on the floor. Trim servo has got to go, trim servo wire's got to go down. That'll run down the other side. My comm antennas, I think, will be under the pilot and co-pilot seat. I've had a couple mention that. So that gives them some separation, but it allows me to close out my tail without worrying about that for now. My GPS behind station 3 on top. So this is station 3 here. So the GPS, because it's a satellite, will go on top. So that'll go in my ceiling. Transponder, I've got, one of the builders said he's forward of the comms where doubler will fit. That would put it up under the feed area. That's where I am so far, and I'll let you know if that changes. I'm going to do a quick update on where I am. The magnetometer, I got the screws that were a little longer than the ones I had. They're number 6, 32 by 3/8, and they went in very nicely, nice and snug. I got the harness from my panel company, so I've got that harness run through a loom up the right side of the fuselage. So the magnetometer should be set. Then when it came to the ELT, I decided to put it under the aft baggage. I saw some others that have done this, and I think RANS actually installs them there. So I put it in the rear part of the aft baggage because there's a chance I'm going to have my comm antennas on either side here. They may go on top. I've seen others put them on top, but I'm putting that ELT all the way back. This is the ELT. Here's my mounting plate. So I took some 6061 stock that I've got, it's .040. Made the plate. I'm going to mount that onto that bracket. Oh, the reason it's not on the skin is in the instructions. It says it cannot be mounted to the skin. Must be mounted to a stringer or something more solid. So this is why the bracket on the stringer. This will lay on top of those stringers and rivet it in. This is the mounting plate for the ELT. This will mount onto there, and then we'll have the ELT mounted back in there. I have finished the ELT mount. I riveted a top plate onto the fabricated brackets on the side. Those fabricated brackets go into the stringers, and then there's some hardware to attach the clamps to the ELT. But the ELT is finished other than hooking up the wiring, but we'll do that later. So the ELT is installed. Looking good. With the ELT mounted, my next step is going to be to mount the ELT antenna. I've decided I'm going to mount it on top. This is the aft storage area here. You've got the pilot's, co-pilot seating here. So I'm going to come back to station 456 and put it somewhere around station 6. It says to have it as close as practical to the ELT. You've got to have it at least 3 feet away from comm antennas. My comm antennas are actually going to go below the pilot, co-pilot seats going down, so we'll be good there. So I think that's a good location for it. It mentions just if your skin is not at least .060, which it's not, to use a doubler. I'm going to use a 3-inch doubler on the bottom side of the skin, drill a 1/2-inch hole, and it's got a pretty simple screw mount on top of that. The ELT doubler for the antenna is installed and riveted, and we'll move on from here. The trim servo kit came with a 5-wire bundle of wires, which I'm going to run down the fuselage. I've got a loom in there, so I'm just going to snake it down the loom, and this is for the trim servo motor. I've decided to work on my top skins. I think I've got my wiring and electronics that I need to have in the tail cone taken care of. To do that, these stringers have to get bent. So I'm clecoing them into place, marking where they need to be bent. I've got to put a cut in it and then bend it to where they're going to attach to the cage spacer bar. So I think we're good there, and we'll move forward. I need to match drill these stringers to the top skin, forward top skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm clamping one in each place. I say check to make sure the alignment is straight going down. And then I'm going to clamp it and then just match drill it to that top skin. I have taken everything off, cleaned and deburred, and now I am riveting the stringers on, and I think I am ready to rivet the top. I'm going to keep moving, but everything indicates that we can rivet. I've got the ELT antenna hole, which I think I can get that antenna in after the top is riveted. That doesn't look like it'd be too much for trouble. So we're going to start the top assembly. So I did decide to run a 14 gauge wire down my loom, down the left side of the plane if you're looking forward. So I ran that down just in case I need to snake a wire. I've got a 14 gauge that I can use as my snake wire, so I'm going to leave that in there. There was some discussion about a tail beacon light or a beacon on your fuselage. And quickly on the discussion on that, if you've got strobes on your tip that are a combo nav light and strobe light, that will suffice for your beacon requirement. So my issue was you don't want to leave your beacons or your strobes flashing while you're on the ramp. And I had a response back from one of the builders that said, you know, FARs are pretty clear that if your strobes are disruptive or a hazard to other planes, you don't have to run them as long as you've got them. and he recommends turning your strobes on prior to starting your engine for awareness, turning them off on the ramp, and then turning them back on before you depart as you normally would with your strobes. Okay, I just caught an error, and I'm glad I caught it now, not too late to fix it. Anytime you install an antenna with a doubler, do not prime between the plates. My thought is moisture might have gotten in there, but the doubler needs, or the antenna needs, the frame of the airplane as part of the ground, and you need 24 inches of material, and when you prime your surfaces you lose your contact for the ground. So my bad, but easy, just 6 rivets. I'll drill them out, sand everything down, and replace it with a bare finish. Okay, I just stopped the tail cone top skin riveting process because I found a couple little things I forgot and didn't really see them mentioned in the manual. Thanks to Steve at Clear Direct. These are these tail cone rudder cable fairings, or tailwheel fairings, that need to go on the bottom side of the tail cone. And if you start attaching the springs to the cables, you're not going to fit these fairings on. And there's not a lot of discussion in the text about when to put them on. Steve points that out, but they do need to go on. I also have this support block that goes up against station 10. If you look at the manual, they show you the tail cone fairings here, but there's not much other than that to indicate they go on. There's nothing in the text. There's no separate page. And then on the earlier page of this station 10, you can see this block right here, and it says refer to tailwheel section. Well, you've got to find the tailwheel installation parts section, which is on 0807, which is the next chapter up. You come over here and you find a small picture of where they're showing that it attaches to station 10. So I've got to get that in and get these fairings installed, and then I should be able to move forward with the top skin. This block requires 2 3/8 holes to be drilled through the skin. There's already the holes in the block, but you've got to transfer drill through the skin. It's pretty tight getting a drill in there. I've got this attachment that's come in pretty handy. I think I got it at Home Depot, and it's a flexible attachment. It goes in like a bit, and then you use it as you can actually hold this and move it, and this stays still while the bit turns. This is kind of handy, but it enabled me to get the drill head down into this tight area and get that drilled. You also need to drill out this one here to a 5/16. That's on station 9, and that all supports the landing gear. So again, once you get this top skin riveted on, I don't know how you'd find and drill that. It doesn't mention it, but I drilled it through before I put the top skin on. Okay. What it looks like is the first thing I need to do is trim this so it's almost flush. There's a line cut in here, so you're going to trim these out so they're flat panels. Then I've blown up the schematic on my computer. It looks like 2 of these nut screws go through the existing nut screw holes that you've already put in there, and then 2 more are going to go in the actual access panel itself, and then 2 more are going to get drilled in the bottom skin behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the middle 2 into the holes I've already got drilled, and then mark my other holes in the panel and then the skin, and then drill those out and put they all take nut plates, so you've got to put nut plates in there using small rivets. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by taping off the line cut, and we'll use the Dremel to cut it. Okay, my cable exit fairings are on. Nothing real complicated about it. You do have to drill some nut plates in, both the front and into this inspection cover. That was the tricky part. Getting in here, as you can see, there's not enough room between these stations. So getting in here and putting these nut plates on was really tight. Getting the rivets in there and everything else. Thank goodness for my super extendo bit, my drill. That came in real handy, reaching in there and drilling those holes for the nut plates. And I also decided I am not going to rivet my top skins. I've just got a feeling that I'm going to need to get in here to do stuff, and riveting this shut right now just doesn't give me a good feeling. So my next step is to start working on some of the side panels, the floorboards, and up here. And I don't need to have my top riveted for that. Sorry, I've got these laying in here. These are my top forward sides, top skin forward skins. So we'll start working up here, and if something really brings me to like riveting these tops, I will, but for now I'm going to leave them unriveted. I'm going to start getting back on track with the order of the manual, and the manual starts talking about the top front skins. Those are these two up front of the tail cone where they mate to the cage. So they've got me riveting and getting in place, and I think we go window supports, but we'll track with page 87 of the manual and move forward. Okay, I've got the glass window and the support in. What they have you do is in the Lexar glass, they have you drill it out to a number 27. It's a little bit bigger than the 30 that you use for your rivets, but it's just the glass portion. I guess that's for expansion of the rivet. So then you attach the doubler and rivet it to the forward top skin. The other thing is I'm riveting these longerons in here. They've been unriveted for a while. I wasn't really sure when to rivet them. And if I go back to one of my original diagrams, there is a double asterisk here that says riveted during aft baggage installation. On the aft baggage installation, they don't mention anything about it, so I made a note for future reference. But that can be riveted. No harm doing it now. It's a little bit more difficult getting in there with these side panels on, or these top side panels, but not a big deal. Getting in and getting those riveted. And there is a lot of riveting that goes on now, so the instructions are pretty clear that we can be riveting. I have got the tail cone riveted except for the spine, which is the last step. As far as the top skins, I don't have those riveted. A couple more final touches. I want to make sure that this trim is done. Remember, this has got to get trimmed. I double check that. I've got to make sure I form the edge so it's got to fit to it. Remember, these clecos are holding your frame and cage, your tail cone and cage together, so I want to be careful taking those out to cleco this. It's all cut, should be ready to go, and I've also seen that you don't want to rivet this line right here because that's going to have your attachment from your forward skins coming in. So, and I've got my spacers in. They're primed. I think I'm good to go. I'm gonna form that edge and then finish riveting the top. I have finished riveting the top skins. There's a lot of different rivets. You gotta remember the stainless steel rivets here, up here, down here. They're all primer, dipped in primer, wet dipped. I did leave this last row unriveted, as I believe there's some skins that come in, they may use that same row. I didn't rivet the bottom for the same reason, and the top, along the top for the same reason. Okay, my next step is the side and bottom skins, but they note here that to make sure the sliding seat position rails are in place. So we go up to the sliding seat assembly on page 107, and as you can see, I've got my fuselage upside down. I've moved my table off to the side, and I think everything's now going to be done on the floor. And the first step is to get these sliding rail assemblies. It's 2 7/8, I think, from the center hole to the hole. And then I've used a cross beam to make sure that they're all lined up and they're 90 degrees to each other. A little 1/4 inch piece of rebar would have worked. I had an aluminum rod that also worked. So the first step is to get them clamped and measured and positioned on the bottom of the rail. Okay, the next step is to drill out the holes for your brackets from a number 11 to a 1/4. And then you gotta get these rivet nuts in there. And if you don't have a rivet nut puller, they give you a process of using a 10/32 screw and a nut and a washer, put in the rivet nut, and you put that into the hole, and then you crank down the nut, and I guess that's going to expand the rivet nut into the hole. There is a tiny little barb on the bottom of this, which I'm assuming is to sit into the frame a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little file, little straight edge file, and I'm going to create a little notch so this little barb can sit in there. And I'm assuming that's so it won't turn afterwards. And there's 8 of these to do on those seat mounts. So we'll get those in and get these rivet nuts in. Okay, the manual says to hold the screw stationary after you've got it finger tight down here. Hold the screw stationary and turn the nut 3 complete turns. I put a little mark on that nut to tell when I've turned it completely around. And then 3 turns is going to lock that rivet nut into place, apparently. I was not very successful on getting these things locked down and turning the 3 required turns using regular screws and nuts. I did get some stainless steel screws and nuts and had much greater success. I kept stripping the screws every time I tried to make that 3 revolution turn. It was quite a tug to get those things locked in, and with the regular screws they just stripped. So my recommendation is start off with stainless steel screws when you do it. You're then going to cut little 1/2-inch sections off of some stock material you get. This is going to get bolted on the rail, and these become your seat stops on the rail. Then it says to bolt down your rail using your spacer and a bolt and Loctite. I'm using Loctite Red, which is the permanent Loctite. I don't see any reason this needs to come out for any reason. So you just bolt them in, and then you get the other rails to do. Okay, seat rails are in with the stops. Okay, the second part of this says check to make sure the seatbelt bolts will slide into the belt bushings of the fuselage. And you look around and you're like, where's the seatbelt information with the bushing size? They don't direct you. You flip around some pages and you do find a parts list on the seats kind of showing you where these bushings are and that the size is 5/16. So coming over here, there's 3 for each seat. There's 1 on the, there's 1 here, 1 here on this seat, and then 2 more, 1 there and 1 over there. So there's this line. So there's 4 there. And then by station 3, there's 1 down here. So there's 3 for each seat, 2 on the seat rails and then 1 on the top. And those have to be 5/16. Once again, I'm going to use my handy dandy flexible drill extension because the bits are going to be really hard to get in here given how tight it is. Okay, that's probably a pretty good place to end the video. I'm trying to keep them all at around or less than 25 minutes. That segment took 44 build hours. Kind of hard to believe. I don't feel I got 44 hours worth of work done, but that's how they added up. The next segment goes a lot smoother. Thank goodness. I needed some smoother build time, but I'll get that content out shortly. And my build hours to date, 576 hours project to date through this video. And we're moving right along. I look forward to sharing some more content with you. Thanks for watching. And as always, dream it and just build it.